Welcome to Fantasy Sports today here on SportsGrid. It's championship week for all of you in fantasy football. I'm Craig Mish along with George Kurtz. I have a fantasy championship playing this week. I won my semifinal last week. George has several players going this weekend. He's in his fantasy football championship. I got some big money on the line for the first time all year. I'll talk about how things went for me yesterday. We got a little bit started, but George is in so many of these best ball leagues and everything else. But yeah, time to play for a championship this week. George, you ready?
Sam, our producer, already said during before the show, so many injuries this week, right? And it impacts everything. Obviously, you're not starting those players, but it also affects players on the same team, right? Lamar Jackson now, he may not play, so that affects, obviously, do you want to go with Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers? I assume you're not going Mark Andrews either way, but it's a trickle-down effect here. Or maybe you like your Green Bay Packers more now because they theoretically should have the ball more. Right, so maybe you're bumping up Romeo Doubs, who I might have to start in the league because of other injuries there. So it's making it, I guess, more intriguing here or more nerve-wracking because you want to go with your starters, you want to go with the guys that got you there. But hey, circumstances are saying you may have to go other directions. And another thing, how many games are important this weekend, Craig? I mean, the playoffs are pretty much set, right? They're all
it's true. Very rare.
Yeah. Right. It's next 2 weeks aren't going to be a lot of fun in NFL for the most part, though. We only care about this weekend.
Yeah, no, the point you make is great because I really think the nail in the coffin for that was Thursday night when Detroit lost. I mean, that pretty much set the field in the NFC once that happened. I also want to mention that last week here on the show, and I was talking about what to do in my semifinal round, and George says, listen, you got to play Kenneth Gainwell over Breece Hall. I didn't listen. I played Breece Hall, and George was right, and I was cursing him. I'm like, George, you were right. I should have done it. Not going to make that mistake this week. I will not make that mistake this week. I'm going to start Kenneth Gainwell in my lineup. But anyway, as George mentioned, a lot of backup quarterbacks playing right now in the NFL. We saw it on Thursday. We're going to see it this weekend. Affects the offense, affects the defense. You have to make these key decisions on who to start, who to sit. We'll get into it with you. DK Metcalf, that's an easy decision. He has been suspended for 2 weeks, so he will not play this week. And for those of you playing daily fantasy, I don't even know that this game next week with the Ravens and Steelers is going to matter, as George mentioned, but Metcalf will not play in that one as well. Tight end news this week, we got a bunch of it. Brock Bowers was placed on injured reserve. The Raiders just basically are like, nah, we're not going to risk any further injury for the next 2 weeks, so he definitely will be out. Also, late Friday, it was announced that Harold Fannin, who George and I talked about last week, is like the number one tight end in fantasy right now, or close to it. He popped up on the injury report. He says he's going to play this weekend, and certainly a lot of teams in the championship with Fannin because of the season that he had. So, George, we could go a number of different directions here, but the backup quarterbacks definitely is something that we saw, especially on Thursday. It affected the Chiefs. It affected the Commanders. It affected the Vikings. The Vikings, ironically, were the only team that ended up picking up that win on the holiday, on Christmas, but they didn't deserve it. Brian Flores deserves like a medal for that game for his defense. Their offense was hideous.
I believe I saw a stat that the Minnesota Vikings have not allowed a passing touchdown in like the last 6 games. I know this is nuts. That defense is that good. Now, on ordinary years, Flores would have a lot of head coaching opportunities next year, right?
I agree.
He's sort of he's on the outs in the NFL for what happened with Miami, maybe a little blackballed there. Somebody's out, and he's suing the league too, right? So I was surprised he actually got a DC job over there. But this is a really good defensive coordinator,
obviously,
who shut down everybody. So I guess we should have known that going in. But Craig, who would have thought? You and I were talking in August. Who would have thought that Detroit, Kansas City, Baltimore, all not making the playoffs? Yeah, Baltimore, I guess they win out and Pittsburgh loses out. They'll win the division. But as you said it, I don't think Pittsburgh's losing to Cleveland on Sunday, more or less next week as well. And is Baltimore winning tomorrow? I don't know. So it probably doesn't matter there. But who would have thought those 3 teams are not making the playoffs? Yeah. Kansas City, Baltimore, and Detroit. Never would have had that on my bingo card. Never. So it's been a strange year, and every year always is, right? And one of the more intriguing games, by the way, on Sunday would be the Raiders and Giants. Pretty much the loser gets the number 1 pick, right? The loser, the Giants, I don't think would take Mendoza anyway, right? They're gonna ride with Jackson Dart here, but the Raiders probably would take Mendoza if they lose. And I think the Raiders will lose. I think it's part of the reason why Bowers isn't playing. Let's hurt ourselves a little bit more here. I think the Giants will win that game, but that is one of the more intriguing games, I guess, for the toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it there,
It
the
could
number
be.
one pick
Yeah.
bowl.
Yeah. Raiders going into the season, number 1 target, Brock Bowers, number 2 target, Jacoby Myers, both out for the next 2 games. How do you think the Raiders are going to play there? By the way, fantasy yesterday, I'm going to get into my story here now, and you can tell me, George, if you think I'm cooked. So yesterday, Jahmyr Gibbs had 6 points, CeeDee Lamb had under 10, and you could see a lot of the names there that had bad games. Another bad Jefferson game, unfortunately, but the one that I would look at there. Now, my scoring system's a little bit better for Jared Goff. So I got a 6 out of that touchdown that he threw, but he had 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and so let me set the table for you. Saturday, or is it Christmas? I can't even get these days right. Christmas Day, I go into the game, and the first game, my opponent has Terry McLaurin and George Pickens. I come out of the game thinking, I'm in good shape, man. I'm feeling really good. 10 points each for both. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then Goff lays that stinker. Now, it's a super flex league. I still have Trevor Lawrence, but I'm no longer favored to win the fantasy football championship because of that. I was stunned watching Goff play, George. I don't know. I mean, look, he has these games like once a year. I did not expect it to be fantasy football championship weekend. He looked completely lost.
I didn't expect it either, and I didn't know that stat I just told you about the 6 Minnesota now allowing a touchdown pass in the last 6 games until after the game, by the way, which I'm surprised that wasn't more publicized, I guess. Now, Goff does have those games, but Craig, usually it's outdoors, right? It's not usually. I know it wasn't at Detroit. It was in Minnesota. I get it, but usually he plays very well in the dome there. So it was shocking. Gibbs not getting anything, shocking. All right, because once again, Minnesota, you can run on them. Passing on them, well, you knew it was going to be hard, but running you can do, but they could not. So just a strange game. And you would have thought they're going to have the ball for 38 minutes with Brosmer at quarterback because, Minnesota's not going to do anything offensively. And pretty much they didn't do anything offensively.
No.
All right. There was just a dominating defense by the Vikings there. So if you had Lions, you're crushed, right? You're absolutely crushed right now because I think St. Brown got 14. So I guess you're okay with Brown there.
Yeah.
So I guess you're okay there. But listen, I had Dak and Lamb in the league, and Dak was terrible. And he threw 307 yards yesterday, and he was terrible. He was 19 of 37. He missed Lamb wide open for 3 touchdowns. And that's not an exaggeration. Wide open for 3, including on the first series of the game. It's like, what are we doing here? So disappointing there as well. Lamb only had 9 points. You mentioned Pickens only had 10. If you had Ferguson, hey, he caught a touchdown. That's it. That's what you got from Ferguson here. And Williams got hurt. So you got nothing from the Cowboys either yesterday. Just really, as far as fantasy yesterday, who did anything? Nothing happened in the Kansas City-Denver game. R.J. Harvey? No. I guess Harvey might have had the best
one player did. We'll get into it next segment. One player was well above everybody else. So and by the way, because I was on the show with Gabe on Christmas Day, he's doing picks. Like 100 picks or something like that. So I'm up against it. He made me do 3 picks on the show. Under Terry McLaurin, longest reception, 21.5, winner. Over Davis, the running back on Dallas, that went over like in 2 minutes in the game. And then as we're wrapping up the show, he's like, give me a pick for Minnesota and Detroit. I'm like, oh, this is the easiest under ever. Neither team is going to score. Good defense from Minnesota. 3-0 with the picks on SportsGrid yesterday. Man, that's an absolute stunner. 30 seconds to go. Brock Bowers was the number 1 tight end in fantasy football. He's out for the season. George, is he the number 1 tight end picked in fantasy football next season, or is that Trey McBride? It's one of those two.
We don't know who the quarterbacks are going to be for either team. I'll say Bowers, all right, because I think he is still the better player here, but I completely reserve to change my mind.
Great answer, I think.
When you look at this NBA Cup, you have to think about the importance. As a coach, I find a lot of importance. This wasn't a gimmick win. The Knicks earned it the hard way, and it matters in April as Mike Brown continues to build that culture in New York, and now, in my opinion, the Knicks are legit contenders to win the NBA title.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to NAL, money does buy you talent, but it doesn't buy you chemistry, leadership, and wins. Look at St. John's, Kentucky, how they're battling. You need the right mix of experience, youth, and new blood if you're going to really tackle the transfer portal market in NIL and win consistently.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. Big games coming up on Saturday night, and we will preview them here on this championship edition of the show. But first, let's recap what we saw on Christmas Day. My holidays are all screwed up. Cowboys beat the Commanders 30-23, so George was somewhat happy on Christmas Day. But as we alluded to, the big winner from all of fantasy yesterday, George, and I'm going to guess that some people played him, was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who, as I said yesterday with Gabe, George, he's had 3 seasons. The good season, the bad season, and then the good season to end the season. It's really been 3 seasons for him because he's really, for about 7 weeks, he was a complete non-factor. But yesterday, right before the game, Rodriguez was ruled out. So maybe some people threw him in there, George, and he delivered 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. I disagree with you. Dak, I thought, didn't play well football-wise, but anytime your quarterback puts up 20+, it's one of those shrugs. Like, all right, like that's pretty much, I'm okay with that. And that was my intention on mentioning Dallas. Virtually no one else did anything. As you mentioned, Williams got hurt right away. Nothing for Pickens, nothing for Lamb, and nothing for anybody on Washington. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt definitely came through. Very surprisingly, last 2 weeks has been very good.
Yeah, and I just looked at you're saying this now. My home league is a total points league. I just looked now to see if anybody had him because I knew somebody was on someone's team that he was released and he wasn't picked up. And against the Dallas defense, he probably should have been picked up. My home league is you start 3 running backs. Running backs are even more valuable there. So I'm surprised he wasn't grabbed there. Especially when Rodriguez went out. And that in one of the leagues that a traditional league I'm in, I had Rodriguez now, and I had to pull him out of my lineup there because of the inactive. And Craig, I'm gambling that Travion Henderson's going to play on Sunday because he's the guy who Rodriguez is in for. And now Henderson's the other guy there. Now I got to pick up another running back to cover myself in case he is inactive due to the concussion. Right. Although he got rid of the non-contact jersey today, so he might play there. So yeah, JCM, I guess he's the winner from yesterday if you did start him, which I'm guessing maybe 50-50 in a lot of leagues there, as I mentioned. My home league, he wasn't started there. I have to check the other leagues there. So my other thing is this, by the way. If you're in your fantasy finals, by the way, you probably didn't start JCM. You probably have better running back options. So, yeah, I don't know how many teams he actually helped there. So is Dak, for what it's worth, for anybody who is playing next week, he says he does want to play next week in Week 18, wants to finish out the season. We'll see. Dallas plays the Giants there. We'll see how it works out. I said the Cowboys, Dak and it didn't have any kind of connection with CD yesterday, which is just strange. They should have had a monster day together. They did not. Pickens was solid, did drop a pass there, but nothing that's significant. Ferguson got hurt. Javonte Williams also got hurt, shoulder injury. Not sure we're going to see him again this season here. Maybe Willis again next week. For Washington, they were actually decent. Debo looked like Debo again. Where was this whole season?
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, now he's going to get paid again. He's going to sign a one-year deal with somebody else. But, George, you're 100% right. I don't care what quarterback was with Washington. Why did they sign this guy to not do anything with him all season? And then the last 2 weeks, he's been great again. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. I agree with you 100% there. All right, let's move on to the next one. Lions and Vikings, absolutely horrible game where the Vikings dominated this one 23-10. The defense got like 50 points or something insane yesterday with all of the picks and the fumble recoveries and everything else. So not a lot of fantasy standouts from that game, especially on the Minnesota side. Almost nothing. For the Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown goes out with a 14-point performance. I mean, not the best, but I guess you'll sort of take it. It could have been disastrous, but the last 2 weeks, I don't think he's been 100% healthy. I think he doesn't play, by the way, in the final game of the season. I think they're going to sit him out. It seems like he's just been fighting to stay on the field. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, George, as we wrapped up November, we're like, hey, this guy's the #1 pick in fantasy next season. And now it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, still top 5, probably. But this guy's like pulling a Jonathan Taylor, disappearing when you need him most.
Strange, right? Just strange. Because I can understand Minnesota passing tough against the pass, but where was the run? In the last couple of weeks, where's the run for Gibbs? Right? It's not there. I wonder, Craig, is he dealing with an injury that we don't know about? Is he lost a little bit of that burst? Haven't heard anything. I don't know. It just goes through the back of my mind here. I'm at my family's yesterday. My brother's a big fantasy player. My nephew's a big fantasy player. And we're talking just what you said here. Who is the #1 pick next year? I mean, it's not Gibbs anymore. You're right. I'll say to you what I said to them. And I have the #1 pick in at least 2 leagues next year, both home leagues, because I finished 4th out of the money. Can you trust McCaffrey to finish
It doesn't
healthy?
matter. You got to do it. He's been too good.
I don't know.
You got to do it.
I don't know.
Broncos and Chiefs, awful game. I turned this one off. Stopped watching. This is just an awful game. Broncos win 20-13. I drafted RJ Harvey at the beginning of the season, so naturally everyone's like, "Oh, you should be in that league." I'm horrendous. I was 4-10. This guy did absolutely nothing all season long. But here's the problem: Denver was great all season long without him. So I mean, how can you bitch at Sean Payton? You can't do it. The only thing that I would say is, George, there's probably like 5 or 6 running backs in the NFL who improved their stock from week 8 through the end of the year. This is one of the main guys that did it. RJ Harvey's going to be, Dobbins will not be back. So RJ Harvey, George, will be what? A 2nd-round pick in fantasy? Probably. 3rd, the latest. This guy, he's scored 5 weeks in a row. Or 5 out of the last 6.
Yeah, that's the way my mind's working. You talk about something like second round. I think he'll go second round. He's a 3rd be at the worst here, but I expect 2nd round. Denver's going to be a good team, good offense. He's playing hard here. Assuming he goes into the offseason healthy, he'll be a 2nd-round pick next year for fantasy teams. And probably well worth it, because this is an offense that should only get better theoretically as Sean Payton keeps building there. We'll see what they can do in the playoffs. Yeah, this should be an interesting team, although I still think they're kind of a fraud.
Kelsey went over his receptions prop with those last 2 receptions that he had on the final drive. But George, do you think that his career is over? I do. I think there's way too much smoke being talked about for that not to be the case. I don't think he's running it back. I think that's it.
I didn't start him in my finals in one league. Decided to go Kate Otten over him. Let you know how much I think what he was going to do yesterday. Do I think it's done? I don't think he's made his mind up completely, but yeah, I think we've seen the last of Travis. On the football field. We haven't seen
first time he doesn't look the same ever. Hall of Famer, without a doubt. We'll be right back.
When you look at this NBA Cup, you have to think about the importance. As a coach, I find a lot of importance. This wasn't a gimmick win. The Knicks earned it the hard way. And it matters in April as Mike Brown continues to build that culture in New York. And now, in my opinion, the Knicks are legit contenders to win the NBA title.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to NAL, money does buy you talent, but it doesn't buy you chemistry, leadership, and wins. Look at St. John's, Kentucky, how they're battling. You need the right mix of experience, youth, and new blood if you're going to really tackle the transfer portal market in NIL and win consistently.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Time to play a little start or sit. Week 16 Fantasy Football Championship. My gosh, this first one is tough. I'm playing both if I can. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm looking at these names. I got them both in my lineup. I guess it's picking one over the other if you're one of the 10-team league or 12-team league. All right, George. I mean, I don't even know how you sit Jacoby Myers. This guy's amazing. Trevor Lawrence is like carrying me. Jacksonville's awesome. They're at Indianapolis. You're going to play him or Ted McMillan, who's fantastic too. He's playing great. I think next year, George, is a huge breakout coming for this guy. If it's not happening already, Carolina against Seattle. Oh, if I had both, I'd play them both, honestly. I think that both are close to wide receiver ones in fantasy. Very close.
I don't know if I'm going to put either one at wide receiver 1. Keep in mind, Ted has been a compiler. All right. What I mean by that is he only has one week this season of over 20 points, fantasy points. So he's a compiler more than a guy who wins you a week. There's nothing wrong with that, mind you. That's great for the NFL, but for fantasy, it sort of makes the decision a little easier for me. I'm going to go with Myers here. I think Ted's the better player. Don't get me wrong. All right. And as Craig said, I think next year Ted will be even better. It's also they're playing Seattle. It's a little bit of defense there. We saw the Indianapolis defense get carved up by Purdy, right, and company there. And I think that might happen again. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is about as hot as can be. He had no problems against Denver, all right? Supposedly one of the best defenses in the league here. So I'm going to go Myers here. I fully admit Ted's the better receiver. And long-term, yeah, I'd rather have Ted. But I'm going to go for this weekend. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers here.
Yeah, it's one of the most underrated impact trades at the deadline. Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars record with Myers this season. It's like undefeated. Crazy. All right, this is tough too because both are startable, but both have really bad matchups. Omarion Hampton of the Chargers goes up against Houston, and Houston generally gives up nothing. And then you have Kenneth Gainwell, who George aptly thought last week would have a good week. I did not see him and Warren both having huge games, but I think that's the recipe here for Pittsburgh again. And with no Metcalf, I mean, Gainwell probably with the better floor, Hampton with the better ceiling. You can only pick one, though.
That catch by Gainwell last week, that's the catch of the year, right? I mean, oh, my God. What a fantastic catch. A little luck involved, sure, but certainly reminded me of the Antonio Freeman catch on the Monday night from Brett Favre back in the day, somewhere in the 90s there against Minnesota. This is a tough one. I mean, they both have lousy matchups here. I think you said it perfectly. What are you hoping for? If you need the high side here, then you're probably going to go with Hampton. If you want to get, Gainwell's going to catch some balls. It's what they do. So I'm going to go Gainwell here, but Hampton probably has the better chance of a touchdown in this game. So just keep that in mind here. But I'm going to go with the safer play. Also because I have Gainwell in a couple of leagues. I don't have Hampton anywhere. So I'm starting Gainwell as it is. So I sort of want to hope this into reality.
How about Hall or Gainwell this week for me, George? What would you do? I have Gainwell in there currently. I can't watch Brees Hall play anymore.
On New England. You
think so? Back to Hall? I think I
need.
need the upside. I do. I think I need it because my percent. I don't know if you believe in the percentages that they have on these sites, but I'm like 39%.
I don't. I really don't. For the most part, listen. I do look at it. I'm not going to tell you I don't, but I don't really care. It's just so many weird things happen. It just doesn't. If it says 99-1, then I know I'm screwed. But other than that, everything else is pretty close here.
Hunter Henry at tight end or Kyle Pitts. Pitts has been great for the Falcons for exactly 3 weeks. Hunter Henry is going to get you probably 7-8 points, like almost no matter what. But I would assume this game gets out of hand, and then all of a sudden Henry's a non-factor. Another tough one. Good Sam comparisons this week. Good job.
Every now and then Sam gets one right? It's Christmas time. Hunter, both teams are, and Jets are about middle of the pack covering tight end. Steelers are lousy at covering tight end, by the way, when Fannin was originally on this list, by the way. Kyle Pitts has been hot as anyone lately, right? Contract year, we're going to go for the big contract. Cousins is looking for him. I think I'm going to go Kyle Pitts here. And every time I go with this guy, I always get, we get screwed. It's against the Rams. I mean, the theory says it's going to be a lot of points this game. They're going to have to throw the ball a bunch. Give me Kyle Pitts. Don't feel great about it because Henry has been a little bit more consistent, but I'm going Kyle Pitts.
All right, let's go to the quarterbacks here. Jackson Dart with this dream matchup against Vegas. It's on the road. Tyler Shuck for New Orleans at Tennessee. Dart doesn't look as good as he has early on. I don't know.
No.
He's slowing down.
He was terrible last week. He was god-awful here. Listen, I think I trust Show more. If you want the upside, it is Dart here, but and they're playing the Raiders who just they suck. What do you want me to tell you? But Show's look really good with Olave too, man. I'll take Show.
Yeah, me too. I'll go Shuck as well. All right, we'll be right back with more when we come back. Don't go away.
When you look at this NBA Cup, you have to think about the importance. As a coach, I find a lot of importance. This wasn't a gimmick win. The Knicks earned it the hard way, and it matters in April as Mike Brown continues to build that culture in New York, and now, in my opinion, the Knicks are legit contenders to win the NBA title.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to NAL, money does buy you talent, but it doesn't buy you chemistry, leadership, and wins. Look at St. John's, Kentucky, how they're battling. You need the right mix of experience, youth, and new blood if you're going to really tackle the transfer portal market in NIL and win consistently.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Time for our fantasy games of the week here on Championship Week on Fantasy Sports Today. Let's start off with a game that potentially could have a lot of points, and maybe, just maybe, George, the Cardinals could be winning in the game. They've lost 7 games in a row. This is like one of the biggest disappointments in the NFL. Fantasy-wise, they seem to come through. And guess who came through again last week, George? Again, Michael Wilson. This guy is unstoppable. I cannot believe the season that this guy is having. So I don't care that Harrison's back. You're playing Michael Wilson again in fantasy this week, and McBride, and that's it. Now, the Bengals, it's all hands on deck. You got T. Higgins, you got Jamar Chase, you got Joe Burrow, Chase Brown with a career game last week. I would be very surprised, by the way, if this game didn't go over the total. I'm not a big overs guy. Usually I'm an unders guy, but how many points are going to be scored in this game? Neither team gives a bleep. What, 55, 60 points? What do you think?
The only, if I'm going to give a little caution here, and I agree with everything you said, but if I'm going to give a little caution, which I'm looking up now, it would be the weather. What's it going to be like there? And it's going to be just fine, by the way. 62. What's going on here? Likely rain, by the way, which we're going to see a lot in the, I know the Northeast. I guess also in Middle America as well. But I was a little worried. I said, it's going to be 10 degrees. I may not want to play the Arizona guys, but it's not. It's going to be a really good day here. You got to bangle your starting room. Craig, I mean, if you're desperate at tight end, there are a lot of tight ends out. You mentioned George Kittle is out. Bowers is out. Mike Gesicki. I think they're getting 4 to 5 touchdowns, right? He does keep scoring. I think he could be a dartboard throw for you. I do.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad. Jaguars and Colts, another high total on the board here. Jaguars have the best offense going in the NFL right now. So Trevor Lawrence is number 1, must start. Etienne at running back, must start. Jacoby Myers, must start. Even this Strange tight end, the name, Strange. That guy could be a must start in a 12-team league. As far as the Colts go, George, like Flacco, I was wrong. I thought Rivers was cooked. I didn't think he'd be able to do anything. I did not think it'd be the Colts defense that would go completely in the crapper, but it seems like without Sauce Gardner, they have no shot whatsoever. So I guess I got to just swallow it and put Jonathan Taylor back in the lineup again. But unfortunately, Tyler Warren, he's got to sit. Pittman, got to sit. Rivers has this thing going with Pierce, but do you trust that that's going to happen again this week against the Jaguars? I mean, maybe. I guess that's a wide receiver 3 or a flex, but the Colts season, I think, comes to an end this weekend.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of Sauce Gardner, he's listed as questionable with that calf injury, so he could get back in there. A little too late there, as they got destroyed Monday night by Brock Purdy and company there. I mean, you're starting your Jaguars there. Really nothing to go with there, and including Strange. I'm going with there. Brian Thomas as well, who I know doesn't have quite that connection with Lawrence, but I'm still going with him here. Rivers, listen, he's good within 20 yards. Anything at the 20, he has no zip on the ball. Can't get the ball down the field. We know that. All right, and we saw that as the game went on, where San Fran kept scoring there, and he can't keep up with that because he can't get the ball deeper and deeper. You're right about Taylor. I've got him. I'm starting him. What am I going to do? I don't have anybody better on the bench that I can put in for Jonathan Taylor. It's not going to happen. I'm going to have to ride with him here. Pierce, Downs. I don't have Warren anywhere, but I probably have to start him anyway. I don't know. This is tight end hell this week. I don't know. I don't think I would start Gesicki over Warren or someone like that. Tongs, even if he's in there, I don't think I could pull that trigger. Maybe, but I don't think I could pull that trigger. Pierce, I would probably like over Downs, but I don't love any of them this week. Although I do think there's going to be some points scored again, sort of just like Monday night, but not to that degree.
Buccaneers and Dolphins playing at Hard Rock in South Florida. And I, George, last week on the show, I said I thought the Bengals were going to kill the Dolphins. I think the Buccaneers are going to kill the Dolphins. So I'm back in on all the players on Tampa Bay, even Bucky Irving, I think, this week. Both wide receivers, Igbuka, Baker Mayfield, etc. The Dolphins' defense has packed it in completely. I would play Devon Achane. I probably would play Waddle. But the Dolphins bench Tua Tagovailoa because they want to cut him, and they don't want him to get hurt, and then they can't cut him. That's the only reason why. I think the Dolphins are going to get hammered again.
Okay, it's all about me now. In this game, I have a choice. Waddle or Igbuka? Who are you starting?
Igbuka.
That's my choice right now as well, especially after I think it was the OC came out and said he wants to make sure he gets Igbuka involved earlier in the game. So I think that was pretty much my tiebreaker there.
But I'm not against Waddle. I'm not against him. I still think there's some. I just don't think Ewers is good, and I think the Dolphins' defense. They were very fortunate, I think, that to only give up for that. That defense was so bad. Chase Brown was wide open, running right through. Once the Dolphins lost that game 2 weeks ago, I think that eliminated everything. I think now it's just like lose to get the best draft pick you can. In years past, George, the Dolphins would win these kind of games and then like move back up to 8-8, like to get a bad pick. I think they realize they got to get the best pick they can.
Listen, I agree that the only Dolphin I want to start here is a Chain Waddle. I can see him going, but there's no upside there. That was my other issue. There's not much upside there. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns, get 120 yards. We know that's not coming. With Booker, it actually could happen. You're starting Evans in this game. The running back situation is a nightmare. Like Sean Tucker is the goal line back. He's stealing touchdowns.
Yeah, he really is. You're right. Yeah,
it's so annoying here, but you're still starting Bucky Irving. Baker Mayfield, he's not a must start. He's not, even though I like the matchup here, but he hasn't done much lately.
Good start for him, though. No. Patriots and Jets. It's going to be hard to find a Jet, but for New England, as George mentioned, he has Travion Henderson. If he's playing, you're playing him, and the same with Drake May. Jets maybe Henry, or against maybe Hunter Henry at tight end. That's a possibility. Nobody really a wide receiver. Diggs has been better lately, so that could be a 5 for 50 and a touchdown potentially. What about the Jets, though, George? Breece Hall was the one we mentioned earlier. Is there anyone beyond that to even consider?
Oh God, no. I really don't even want to start Hall, but you can run on the Patriots, whatever it's worth. But they know that too, by the way. They're gonna go put 8 men in that box to stop Hall and force what's his name, Cook to beat them. And I don't see that happening there. I want to mention one thing about the Patriots, by the way. Butte's out, Hollins is out. It's Diggs or bust here. All right, that's going to raise Diggs a little bit in my rankings there because he's going to be the only person you can throw to. Right, there's no one else there. I would say the same thing for Hunter Henry. Stevenson, by the way, is if Henderson's out, we want to mash Stevenson, right? Because he should have a big game in this one. But right. I think from what I'm hearing that Henderson is going to play. Surprised, but I think he is going to play. Like I said, he's still in the protocol right now, but he did take off the non-contact jersey. So I think he's just waiting to be cleared by an independent neurologist.
Seattle takes on Carolina in a game that may end up meaning nothing because I think Carolina, no matter what, is going to have to beat Tampa Bay the last game of the season. If the Bucs beat the Dolphins, that's the scenario. So for fantasy, Jackson Smith at Jigba is the easiest plug and play. Walker's coming off a nice game at running back, so he is definitely in. Darnold, you have to decide if you can do better or not. Same would be Bryce Young. You probably can do better. Territory McMillan, we mentioned, is a possible start there. Running back, yeah, Rico Dowdle hasn't been obviously as good. He can't be any better than he was earlier in the season. He's probably a start. George, not as many fantasy starters, I think, in this game as you would believe.
No, Carolina is a better offense at home than on the road, so keep that in mind. I'm just Young is not going to be a quarterback one for me, but Dowdle has been the same since Hubbard came back, right? He was all world when Hubbard was out, and then because Hubbard came back, he's not getting all that work anymore. We haven't seen quite the numbers from him, but you're probably starting him anyway. You're starting Tet more than likely. Coker if you're desperate, and once again, if you're in tight end hell, I can see you going with Bonner on Seattle here. I can see it going that direction here. And once again, if you're in tight end hell,
really bad.
There's going to be some weird tight ends. Look at your top 12 tight ends, man. We're going to have some weird tight ends playing this week because there are not 12 quality tight ends here. There just aren't.
Eagles have wrapped up their division. The Bills can't win the division, but I would assume both teams will play hard. There are some scenarios, I think, for the early games that maybe they wouldn't play hard at all. So I'm a little concerned about Barkley and James Cook, I guess. Will they sit Cook a little bit, and will they sit Josh Allen a little bit? Usually McDermott does not.
Yeah, you're right. That's not his history. But as you said, this game probably doesn't mean all that much. I mean, it probably means very little here. And Allen's coming in with that sore foot, right? Now, they said the soreness went away as the week went on. Okay, I'll buy that. But still, you can't lose Josh Allen. You can't lose Cook. Because without those two, you ain't going nowhere. A.J. Brown, by the way, did practice today, so he's likely to play. I think Philadelphia has a better chance to play their regulars because they want to get that offense on track.
All right, we'll be right back with more after this.
When you look at this NBA Cup, you have to think about the importance. As a coach, I find a lot of importance. This wasn't a gimmick win. The Knicks earned it the hard way, and it matters in April as Mike Brown continues to build that culture in New York. And now, in my opinion, the Knicks are legit contenders to win the NBA title.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to NAL, money does buy you talent, but it doesn't buy you chemistry, leadership, and wins. Look at St. John's, Kentucky, how they're battling. You need the right mix of experience, youth, and new blood if you're going to really tackle the transfer portal market in NIL and win consistently.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Before we get to buy or sell, let's just do the quick fantasy preview of maybe the best game of the week in the NFL, Bears, 49ers. George, the 49ers are playing the best football right now, I think, of anybody in the NFL. So fire up Brock Purdy once again as a QB1 without a doubt. Christian McCaffrey has been the best fantasy player this season. Juwan Jennings scored again last week. We know that he's probably the only receiver worth playing, but the big question for San Francisco will be playing George Kittle. I have Kittle in my championship. I also have Tongus. So one or the other I will play in Sunday night. And the Bears have been great also, despite having those receivers being hurt. Caleb Williams is a probable play as a QB1. And certainly their running backs have been really good too. You could probably play them both. The Bears are living that charmed life this season. What do you think about this one?
The Bears play a lot of close games. They pull out victories here, but they've had a really, I mean, come on. But what Ben Johnson's done here, they won 4 games all over last season. We were making jokes about, Caleb would call Hikens a jailbreak. He's running for his life because they have no offensive line. Right, he's fixed all that. No Roma Dunze this week. He's out there, so it will hurt their passing game a little bit. Are these two in the battle for Coach of the Year, by the way? What Kyle Shanahan's done with San Fran, remember, no Bosa, no Warner, all these other injuries that they're still winning games. I know their schedule has been crap. All right, I get it. But he does play in the NFC West. I mean, you still got to play Seattle twice, still got to play Rams twice. All right, so it's not totally terrible here, but I get it. That being said, just fantastic what he's done here. Craig, you're in a great position, by the way, because you have Kittle, you got Tongs, no problem. What if you don't have Kittle? You don't have Tongs. Are you going to gamble and wait till 6:45 and hope he's active?
I don't think anybody has him, though. I don't think a lot of people have him, so they could pick him up if they wanted to. But when Kittle,
is this why we play fantasy? Take him.
Right.
If you're playing,
I agree. I agree.
Screw you.
In fact, when Kittle got hurt the first time, I picked him up and just held him the whole season. I'm like, I don't even need another tight end unless I have a bye. Like Tongus was good when Kittle was hurt. He wasn't Kittle, but he was 3 for 20 and a touchdown. Like, okay, that's my 10 points. Fine. All right, we're spending way too much time on games. We got to wrap up the show. Let's play a little buy or sell. I think it's pretty evident that despite being one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, Travis Kelce's play and physicality and everything, with all due respect, took a big step back. This was easily his worst physical season of all. He just didn't look like himself. Travis Kelce will retire after the season. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm probably 60-40 on this that he retires. The only thing I'd say that maybe he returns is because he doesn't want to end the way it ended, not making the playoffs and that sort of thing. But let's just say for Gales and Mahomes, he isn't going to be ready for September or October. Unless they get a really good veteran quarterback, maybe he doesn't want to deal with that either. Go through a training camp and just you may not make the playoffs either next year. So I'm probably 60-40. I think he's done. Too bad. Hall of Fame career. I guess good luck with Travis Swift and your podcast with Jason.
I'm buying this. Andy Reid addressing this question this week. Why? He could have just deferred and said, I don't know, we'll see. Fully answered the question about this maybe being his last game. What does that tell you? He knows. Everybody knows. I'm not 60-40, 90-10. I'm on buy there. By the way, just announced real quick, Jordan Love of the Packers out against the Baltimore Ravens. That means probably Malik Willis starts on Saturday night. Late breaking news from Sam Yarnell. Okay. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. You'd rather have Nix over Caleb Williams in a dynasty league. Again, dynasty league, not this week. Buy or sell.
Boy, the NFL is going to be like, what the hell? Saturday game now? And now we got, was it? I don't even know who's the quarterback.
Horrible.
Huntley versus Willis. Just bad here. All right, back to our question here. As far as buy or sell, which like Bo Nix. Okay, I mean, that's a tough one. I think I'm going to go Caleb here, mainly because he has more running ability than Nix. I think he'll say healthier than Nix. I might like his receivers more as well. He's got a Dunze. He's got you got DJ Moore. You got the good tight ends here. Running game's about the same for both teams here. I probably do lean towards Williams here, not by a hell of a lot. It wouldn't be an easiest choice here, but I'm going to go with Caleb Williams here.
I would agree. It's not that I think that Ben Johnson is a better coach than Sean Payton. I think Ben Johnson is better for Caleb Williams than Sean Payton will be for Bo Nix. I think running is going to be a big part of what Denver does in the future. So there you go. I'll sell. Seahawks defense will score more fantasy points than the Browns this week. You going to buy or sell this?
This is defense is always tough to judge in the first place. All right. The Seahawks defense is good. Maybe it's not playing quite as well lately here. This likely comes down to if anybody can get a return for a touchdown on special teams or a D. Although it says defense, so does that mean it's a full DST or just a D itself? I'm going to go with the against Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Seahawks. They're the better defense here. Myles Garrett, by the way, does set the record this weekend, though. How about that?
Sell. I'll go Cleveland against Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Cleveland this week. Bad weather or good weather, it doesn't matter. Finally, the Packers will not win a playoff game this season. Remember, at the beginning of the season, my Super Bowl teams on FST, Green Bay, Jacksonville. Those were my teams, Green Bay, Jacksonville. Packers will not win a playoff game this season. You know I have to sell this because I picked them to win the Super Bowl.
I think I picked them to make the Super Bowl after they got Micah Parsons too, so I'm sort of right with you there, but we're going to go back to reality here. Micah was the end for them. Once he got hurt, that defense just isn't the same yet. They don't have good enough cornerbacks to cover. They don't have the pass rush there. Right now, they are the 7th seed in the NFL, which means that the playoffs started today. They will play Chicago again. Wouldn't that be fun? Third game between those two. Love will be back. I know he's not playing this weekend. Sam just told us there. I think that's just precaution there to get him healthy for
anyway,
game
I
one.
think this week.
I think Green Bay wins. So I'm gonna sell this. I'm gonna say they win one playoff game.
Me too. I'm gonna sell. I think Green Bay wins the next 2 games. Can they host a game, George, if that happens, or no? Can they get one game at Lambeau? No matter what.
I don't think so.
No, they can't host the NFC West team. No, they have, no matter what, would have to go. I'm still selling. I'm not going to back off what I picked at the beginning of the year. So I got to stick with Green Bay. So I will sell. I will say that, like George, they win one playoff game. All right, we got to take a quick time out. The show is almost over, so we will wrap it up with the SportsGrid 60 when we come back next. It's Fantasy Football Championship weekend, and feel free to send us all your questions on social media. We'll be back right after this.
They have by far the highest ceiling out of any team in the league. elite talent, NBA shot making, versatility, and the best coach in the league in John Shire. They can beat you in multiple ways: half court, full court, run and gun, walk it up. And they out-execute you, maybe except for that game versus Texas Tech.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Arvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is if they're playing a Joe Bowman show.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have
Who's
no
Arvel
idea.
Reese? You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today. Interesting discussion. If you missed it earlier in the show, we're going to reset a little bit. Jahmyr Gibbs, who looked like the first overall pick in fantasy a month ago, he's had 6 games with 10 points or fewer. He's had 4 games with 30 points or more. Where will Jahmyr Gibbs be drafted next year, George? This guy can literally win you a week, but every other week does nothing. Very strange season. I mean, I'll let you go first, then I'll tell you where. I'll let you go first. Go ahead. He's not number 1 anymore. Not number 1.
No, he's not number 1, but he's going in the first round. It may be the bottom half of the first round, 8 to 12. Sounds about right. I mean, we don't have all that great many running backs, right? I mean, you got Bijan Robinson, you got Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, who they'll have a quarterback again. He'll be fine. I'm sure I'm missing Devonta Chain's going to be up here. We're going to talk about him. So was there 5, 6 running backs now that really first round worthy here? No, Sam saying Kyron Williams, but Corum's not going to keep eating into
so
that.
Who's the first pick?
Let's
assume it's McCaffrey, right? You may not take him, but let's assume it is, right? And
he's
the
first
second
running
pick,
back. I'll give you that.
Right. And then the first receiver is
Chase.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, correct?
I'm taking Chase. I'm
take
nowhere
Chase?
Near Chase. I'll take Chase.
Nowhere near. What's your problem, man? Guys, that
I don't
unbelievable
trust
year.
Sam Donald more than I can bowl him. No thanks.
What do you mean? Okay, so Jahmyr, I gave you 3 so you would take Jahmyr Gibbs over JSN next year. You would.
I didn't say that. We said wide receiver.
What is this exercise? So top 4 Gibbs, correct? Top 4 player, fair?
I would probably take Bijan Robinson over him. Chase.
Yeah, you're right.
CMC.
You're right about Bijan Robinson. Yes, you're right.
I mean, I would
5.
probably take Gibbs over a Chain. I trust that offense more, assuming that Goff is there. By the way, he was a big contract also with there, so they're gonna have some issues. They'll have to work that out.
Right.
So I'm gonna go. Like I said, I think I'm gonna go Gibbs about number 8 overall. I think that we saw some other wide receivers.
I got him higher
over
than
him
that
as well.
I got him higher, but I don't have him 1, 2, or 3. Malik Neighbors missed the entire season, and it's cool that he can make fun of himself a little bit. He was in an IHOP commercial. Check it out.
Every year, thousands of fantasy football leagues make their last place teams spend 24 hours at IHOP eating pancakes. And IHOP wants to help.
Just like you helped everyone's fantasy team this season?
Which is why IHOP is launching bottomless pancakes. It's a big win for last place fantasy finishers and anyone who loves pancakes.
Are you Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, that's me.
I wasted my first round pick on you. Ugh.
Can we get this kid some pancakes? Get free bottomless pancakes with select breakfast combos starting January 5th.
I like that. I like that you can make fun of yourself. Self-deprecation, George, wins me over.
Love it. Absolutely love it there. Listen, I kept neighbors in both my home leagues. All right. Obviously didn't work out well. And I can keep him for one more year. I'm not doing it because it's a 4th-round pick. And coming off an ACL, can't do it with Malik. But I wish him the best of luck. He's a great player there. Hope he recovers fully from that ACL. But yeah, that's a pretty funny commercial. I like that.
Let's wrap things up. Championship week with the SportsGrid 60.
All right, I'm going to tell you a little pet peeve of mine here. Why do we still consider 1,000 yards to be a big thing in the NFL? You know, receiver gets 1,000 yards, a running back gets 1,000 yards. You know what that breaks down to in a 17-game season? 58 yards. Anybody happy with your running back getting 58 yards on the ground? No. None of those 3 touchdowns comes with it. Otherwise, you're not happy. We've been saying 1,000 yards now. Craig and I are of the older variety. We've been around since the 70s. 1,000 yards was big in the 70s, too. 14-game season back then. Then 16. All right? And then now it's 17. I mean, 1,000 yards is not what it used to be. Talk to me at 1,250. All right, that's about when you've had a really good season. But it's funny, Craig, even the incentives in the contracts, a lot of us still at 1,000 yards. Like, no one's realized that, hey, we play more games now. It's just not what it used to be. But 1,000 yards is, to me, it's an average season. You've had a solid season. You want to talk about having a great season, all-pro season? You need more than that.
I guess I'm privileged. I'm playing for the championship in this league with a lot of former baseball players. It's the 3rd time in 4 years that I'm playing for the championship. So that's the positive. So I shouldn't complain. But the negative is that, I'm a hedger. And sometimes when I get to a place like this, I think to myself, hey, I wonder if the guy who I'm playing would like to just chop the pot in half so we could split it. And then when you look on Baseball Reference and see that the guy made $20 million, you realize that there's no point of doing that. So, know who's in your league before you draft. If you're playing with a guy that's a billionaire or a millionaire or a zillionaire, you're probably just going to have to play this thing all the way to the end. So, go Breece Hall, I guess. That'll do it for the show. Thanks again to Sam for producing. For George, I'm Craig. Good luck in your championship. We'll be back for the illustrious Week 18 or 7.
They have by far the highest ceiling out of any team in the league. Elite talent, NBA shot making, versatility, and the best coach in the league in John Shire. They can beat you in multiple ways: half court, full court, running gun, walk it up. And they out-execute you, maybe except for that game versus Texas Tech.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Arvil Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Don? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.